to clean Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then I think we would still be looking for someone to do some heavier duty cleaning. So far, David Lebeck, you didn't get any other interest in that, I didn't either, so, I can talk to him. I know there were some other people who said they were interested, but haven't contacted me to, I think, do some heavy duty cleaning a day or two extra a week. Till the virus goes away. Don't be laughing. Okay, did we had any further discussion on the abstract? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. I'm going to change and skip old business for a minute, and we have Nikki Steuben here. And probably some of you have met before. I'll let Nikki introduce herself.
My name is Nikki Steuben, and I'm from Spring Insurance, and I handle the town's insurance through a carrier called NYMER, which is a municipal-only insurance company. You're welcome. So what I want to do is, I came out and met with Judy a few weeks ago. We went over all the budgets and the schedules, and we reviewed everything. And so what we're going to do is I sent it off to your carrier, and what they did is they sent me back a nice proposal. So what I'm going to do is highlight the main coverages, which I think are important to the town. If you guys have any questions in the middle of that, just let me know and I'll answer anything I can. So if you go to the first page, NYMER insures all your property on a blanket coverage. What that means is they give you $3.3 million worth of coverage, and then what they do is they assign a value to each of your buildings and contents. We'll review what each building and contents are in a few pages. You also have liability coverage. If somebody was to come in here tonight and it was salty and icy and somebody was to slip and fall, the town would be responsible for that. So what they would do is they would sue the town, and the town is covered for $1 million. Products and completed ops, that's for our highway folks. In the event that they're out doing road maintenance and they leave a big pothole and somebody comes through and says it needs to be repaired, the town doesn't do their due diligence and repair it, and somebody decides to sue, the town's protected for $1 million. We have cyber coverage. What that would do is if the municipality was to be hacked, they would provide $250,000 worth of coverage. So what they would do is they would find out how it was hacked, they would set up protocols so that you possibly couldn't be hacked again, and then anybody who could have been affected by that cyber hack, they would provide credit monitoring for. Employee theft under crime coverage. In the event I'm the clerk and I'm stealing money, what would happen is you would find out I was stealing money, and then NYMER will protect you for up to $250,000. So what would happen is you'd have to have me arrested, and then NYMER would provide that coverage back to you. Forgery and alteration, if a check came into the town and I forged it somehow, you have $25,000 worth of coverage for that. Computer fraud and funds transfer. If I'm transferring money from the town's account to my own personal account, you have $250,000 worth of coverage for that. And if we were to get counterfeit money, we have $10,000 worth of coverage for that. Does anybody have any questions on any of those coverages?
There's a lot more money in the bank. Why would you only limit it to $250,000?
$250,000 is what, it was something set in a bylaw by folks probably prior to the board and I. It's the maximum amount of money that you would have at one time that somebody could be liable for. If you want to amend those coverage, like I talked to Judy, if she wanted to amend those, we could go through the exercise and increase them. Bodily injury, if I'm out driving a town's vehicle and I get in an accident and I hit Joe and he decides to sue the town, you guys have $1 million worth of coverage for that. Somebody non-town related that it's riding in one of the municipal vehicles and they get hurt, you have $50,000 worth of PIP coverage. PIP is personal injury protection. So if I went for a ride and we got in an accident. Uninsured motorists, if somebody hit somebody in a municipal truck and they didn't have any insurance, we have coverage for $1 million for that. Non-ownership liability. If I work for the town of Cohocton and I use my own personal vehicle to go to the store to pick up supplies for the town and I get in a car accident, insurance will always follow the vehicle, so my insurance would be primary, but if somebody found I was working on behalf of the town of Cohocton, this would protect you. And liability provides legal defense and settlement of the claim. Hired auto liability, if we rented a vehicle to go to Rochester to go to a board class, what would happen is the rental car carrier would be primary, and then again, if they found out we were doing something on behalf of the town of Cohocton, this would provide coverage for that. Deductible reimbursement for officers. In the event you guys were on your way to this meeting tonight and you were to get in a car accident, as I noted before, insurance always follows the vehicle. However, NYMER will reimburse you up to $1,000 for your deductible. Public officials liability. In the event that the town board was to do something and somebody in the municipality didn't think it was just and they decided to sue the board, we have public officials liability for $1 million. Inland Marine, this is going to take care of all of our municipal trucks, and I'll break down how all of those coverages are done in a couple pages as well. I talked about all these liabilities, the general liability, the auto liability, the public officials liability. So they all are at a minimum. The town of Cohocton has purchased an umbrella coverage, which will provide an additional $2 million worth of coverage. So in the event that I slipped and fell out here and they found you negligent, and so a judge awarded me $2.5 million. What would happen is the general liability, which I spoke about at the beginning, would cover me for the first $1 million, and then the umbrella would pick up the rest. Anything over $3 million, though, you guys would be responsible for. Any questions on that page? If we flip to the next page, NYMER every 7 years does perform an inspection. They'll hire a third-party entity to come out and inspect all the buildings, check the square footages, check the condition of them, and then they give you flood certs, and they do that in buildings over $50,000. If you go to the first page that goes horizontal, this is our breakdown of how our buildings are done. As you can see, we have every building listed. We have the address of every building. And the first column is going to be your building value, and your second column is going to be the contents value. You guys just had a CBIZ appraisal, which was that third-party evaluation I spoke about in 2019. So what we do is we put all of your buildings to value as to what NYMER, the CBIZ appraisal says, and then we take a 4% increase every year after that. And then what we do is we check and balance them every 7 years when that evaluation is completed. Does anybody have any questions about the values?
Just on the one for the highway garage,
Uh-huh.
your contents value?
Yep.
Is that including vehicles inside? or-
Nope, vehicles inside we're gonna talk about in just a few minutes. That's chainsaws and weed whackers and generators and all that small miscellaneous stuff they have in there. If you go to the next page, this is our schedule of vehicles. I need to add everything to this page because we need to let the state of New York and the DMV know that you have all these vehicles registered. So at the very end column is the premium. The two next to that is your comp and collision. If it says FLTR in that column, it's the physical damage is going to be picked up on the next schedule. If it has a number there, in the event that you hit a deer, somebody vandal, or they get flooded, you can see those deductibles in the comp. In the event you collide with another object or vehicle, that's the collision deductible, and you can see those listed in that column as well. If we flip to the next page, this is where all of our equipment's gonna come in, as for your questions, sir. We have each vehicle or piece of equipment listed, and it's assigned a value. So in the event that I'm out plowing snow with that 2002 Sterling, and I total it, NYMER will pay you $25,000 minus your deductible. And we have them all broken down into columns. The auto physical damage, we got the ambulances, we got the contractor's equipment, and then the police officer was here when I was here that day, so we reviewed all of their equipment. the radios, miscellaneous equipment when they're off premise, and then NYMER does provide $100,000 worth of lease rented equipment. So in the event the highway super needs to go rent an excavator, NYMER will pick up the first $100,000 worth of coverage while that's in his care, custody, and control. Anything above that, say it was 160, we would just add the 60,000 while it was in your care, custody, and control, and then we would remove it. Does anybody have any questions on any of those values? We flip to the next page. This is our premium breakdown. In the 2019-2020 term, we started at $45,000. We added a trailer in September, so total, you guys paid us $45,000. We did have a slight increase this year. You guys are up to $47,000 this year. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Richie went through this, right?
Yeah, everything is.
Barry, Matt, look at this water tank. Does that seem reasonable, the water tank? Up on Pine Hill, $256,000 to replace it. Is that low to me?
We think that would be,
You think it's low?
for 30,000, it's about $32,000. So, I would say, yeah.
I can send over that CVIS appraisal, if you'd like
Okay,
to
so
see where
that's where
they.
you,
Yeah.
all right.
Yep, what they do is they came out and they did an inspection in 2019 as I spoke, and what they did is they took it to value as to exactly what it would cost them to replace it. And this is what they do, is replace these every day, so, but I'll send that over to you tomorrow, Judy, so you can pass it along to the board. We did send a hard copy out too last year. Can you remember receiving it?
The 9-year binder?
Not the NYMER binder, it would have been a packet, it would have had pictures of all of your buildings and the year they were built and the condition and flood zone certificates.
The only thing I have from them here is the white binder.
Okay, all right, I'll send that CVIS appraisal over tomorrow.
Yeah. Where you got the fire department equipment, should that be ambulance equipment?
Yeah, it should be ambulance equipment, I noticed that when I was looking at it.
Have insurance. Probably.
So I just got one more question.
Okay, go ahead.
With leased and rented equipment.
Uh-huh.
or how, so we have just one scenario where we rent space at the fire department, which is owned by the village of Cohocton.
Okay,
If something happened to those ambulances, they damaged the property, or one of them caught fire and burned that property down, how's that work?
okay, that wouldn't fall under lease rented equipment, cause that's specifically like excavators or,
Okay.
those types of items. All right, so give me your scenario again. The ambulances are parked at the fire department,
Which is owned by the village of Cohocton.
correct?
You pay rent to keep them there,
Yep.
but if those ambulance back into something, damage their building, or catch fire and burn the entire building down, and how's that handled?
Well, they're your property, so you're responsible for them. So if I was backing the ambulance out of the fire station and I hit the fire hall, that would be a collision claim, so our property damage that we have insured for $1 million would take care of any damage to the building.
Okay.
In the event that the fire station burned down, the comp would pick up on the ambulances, and then if you guys were found negligent, then we would also cover that, if it was truly the ambulance's fault, because they're your property.
Yeah. Review the place.
Okay, that answers my question.
Okay, how about you, sir, you got any questions?
No, I'm good.
How about you?
All set.
All right, everybody, well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks.
You're welcome, Judy, and I'll get that CVS over to you.
Bound to happen, right?
This is all stuff that is normally in the white one?
No, I don't know.
Next, I'm gonna jump ahead and let Michael Griffin from the DOT.
Well, we had, like, I talked to Gail on it, there was a different one than before.
Is this a good place to display from?
No.
Does this work for you guys?
Yes,
Yes,
I'll wait till they're done.
so you should, I will send you these documents and you send them to you.
yeah, I always got him in the mail, but that's
Oh, okay.
fine.
All right, well, perfect. Well, thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry, put baby in the corner.
I thought you were picking on me because my head's right.
Okay, see, your mom, she'd hit you anyways, so I'm like,
Shall I start?
Go ahead, sure.
I'm Mike Griffin. I'm from New York State Department of Transportation in Hornell. This is Marty Kaler. She's from our office as well. I'm here to talk to you about a project we're looking to do on Route 21 in calendar year 2022. So this is not next summer, it's the summer after. There's a bridge near the intersection of Bowles Corners, County Route 37. It's about probably 1,000 feet just inside the town of Cohocton on Route 21. And again, the bridge is in its declining years. Again, we want to get to it before it starts being posted and restricting vehicles from utilizing it. And the proposal is to replace the bridge in kind where it is today. The bridge today is 11-foot lanes and 5-foot shoulders, so it's 32 feet out to out. And again, our new bridge would be the same width. Hydraulically, we're going to raise the bridge up about 1.5 feet to allow water underneath in what we design as our peak storms. As environments change, the amount of water coming through our streams are increasing, so again, our bridges are going higher. So what we're proposing to do is raise that bridge up about 1.5 feet to 2 feet. The intersection of Bowles Corners will be back at grade, and approximately 300 to 400 feet to the Cohocton side of the bridge would be back at grade. Route 21 coming from Cohocton is on a steep downgrade coming down to this point here. So again, we will be basically blending into that hill, raising up that little swale at the bottom with the profile. It's a $1.4 million project. We're looking at constructing a single construction season. We looked at some ways to, unfortunately with highway projects, we can't just pick the bridge out and put a new bridge in the next day. It doesn't work like that. So one of the things we constantly try to struggle with and work through is what's the best way to build these projects. For this site, we looked at several alternatives. We looked at the inclusion of an on-site detour, building basically a new bridge out around this way here. And again, on a $1.4 million project, that added about $350,000 to do that. In addition, we looked at basically building the bridge in half. And what that would do is basically we run traffic on half while we build the other half. The condition of that deck, when you start jackhammering it,